You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 9, let's take a look outside on this Monday morning. It is December 1st. We're officially in the home stretch of 2025. Lots to get to this morning as we follow stories in your community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Max Darrow. Here's a look at our news headlines on this Monday. There is a $25,000 reward to help track down the shooter or shooters who opened fire at a children's birthday party in Stockton. 4 people were killed Saturday night. That included 3 children. Sheriff's deputies say the victims were 8, 9, 14, and 21 years old. 11 other people were hurt. Investigators believe this was a targeted attack. The shooter who opened fire at Valley Fair Mall in San Jose on Black Friday remains at large this morning. The gunfire sent shoppers running for cover. Police say a fight broke out near Macy's. One man pulled out a gun and started shooting. 3 people were hit. They all are expected to be all right. Police say this shooting appears to be gang-related. San Francisco is getting ready to welcome its newest supervisor. Alan Wong is set to be sworn in this afternoon as the new District 4 supervisor representing the Sunset. Wong grew up in the Sunset, graduated from Lincoln High, and has twice served as president of the City College Board. His appointment comes after the sudden resignation of Mayor Lurie's first pick, Bea Alcaraz. Another small cluster of earthquakes struck the Bay Area overnight, the first just before 11 o'clock last night in the North Bay. The USGS says a preliminary magnitude 3.3 earthquake struck close to Kenwood, which is not far from Santa Rosa. That was followed by 2 smaller earthquakes, a 2.7 and a 3.1. Now let's get a check of our first alert forecast as we start this day with meteorologist Jessica Birch tracking some dangerous beach conditions along our Bay Area coastline.
Well, it's off to a cool start for us here in the Bay Area with daytime highs this afternoon really only sitting in the 50s all throughout the Bay Area from our coastal communities with that beach hazard statement still in effect issued by the National Weather Service, meaning sneaker waves and rip currents are possible with waves anywhere up to around 10 to 14 feet high in places like Half Moon Bay and Pacifica sitting in the 50s today. We're seeing 50s and 60s throughout the Santa Clara Valley, 50s widespread throughout our inland communities, anywhere from Vallejo stretched all the way down into the Tri-Valley area, and you head up into the Bay and the North Bay too. No changes whatsoever. So it's off to a chilly start today, but we will see a bit of a warm up into the next couple days. Now that Tule fog over into the Sacramento Valley has been bleeding its way over into Solano County and just throughout the Delta. So you've been noticing some poor visibility in those early morning hours. But as we advance the clock into this afternoon, that bleeds off fast. And then we're left with drier and more mild conditions throughout this afternoon, with just some partly cloudy skies in the forecast. Now, as we take a look at the next 7 days, there's some changes that we want to talk about. We're going to warm up just a smidge more, not by much, but by about 10 degrees as we head into our forecast tomorrow. And then that's what we're holding on tight to throughout most of the week. 50s and 60s flirting back and forth with each other throughout our inland areas. Sunny skies as we dive into this weekend. Not a drop of rain in sight anytime soon, which is really a nice relief for us. A nice break as we head into the next couple days, especially after the holiday weekend. Now, as we head into the next couple days, you're still going to want to bundle up in the morning hours. We wake up to 40s all throughout the Bay. We only warm up into the 50s today. We'll see some 60s tomorrow, and then we gradually see a back and forth setup heading into this weekend too, similar to our inland spots for this time of year. Back to you.
Back to that deadly shooting at a child's birthday party in Stockton now. Investigators say up to 150 people were inside of a banquet hall celebrating when gunfire rang out. Most of the victims were children, the youngest just 8 years old. Connor McGill has the latest on the investigation.
As the sun comes up here in Stockton, a community in mourning after a mass shooting erupted just behind me over the weekend. All that's left here at the scene is a makeshift memorial honoring the 4 lives lost and the 11 people injured over the weekend. The San Joaquin County Sheriff held a press conference yesterday laying out new details about the investigation. They say they've been working around the clock to identify who was responsible. Detectives believe there may have been multiple shooters. City leaders say they're fed up and calling on those involved to come forward.
Parents brought their children out and they left with medical examiners. That is not human. Turn yourself in, because at some point the redemption for what you did is going to happen when you see the person that created you.
We know that the Sheriff's Department towed several cars with bullet holes from the scene and recovered firearms from the roof of that banquet hall, but it's still not clear whether those guns are connected. The San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office tells us no press conference will be held today, meaning the search for answers will have to wait.
Connor McGill reporting in Stockton. Investigators say it appears the shooting began inside the building and then moved outside. Right now, Sheriff's Department do not have any details about any suspects. In San Jose, Valley Fair Mall is back open after the Black Friday shooting, but there's still no arrests. 2 adults and a 16-year-old girl were injured in this incident. Chaos inside the mall on Friday night. The shooting happened in front of the clothing store called Fresh Society. For those of you who know the mall, that's near the Macy's. Police say it was gang motivated. They say the shooter got into some kind of argument with a man before he shot him. Police say stray bullets also hit a woman and a teenager.
We heard pops, everybody running, stampeding, was trying to hide. Security, by the time security came, was telling us to get down. Babies crying, people running, just chaos, people tripping, falling.
Everybody's down here.
The 3 victims all are expected to survive. A heads up for EV drivers, it is the end of the road for your carpool lane privileges. Today, the CHP is starting to ticket and fine drivers caught flying solo in the carpool lane, no matter what kind of car they have. These tickets can set you back nearly $500. For years, solo drivers with clean air vehicle decals have been allowed to use the carpool lanes, but that program officially ended 2 months ago. The federal law that allowed it expired in September. Congress didn't renew it. Lawmakers in Sacramento tried to, but they failed to extend it. The CHP gave drivers a 60-day grace period. That's now over, so EV drivers do have to follow the regular carpool lane rules, just like everybody else does, starting today. A heads up for drivers in San Francisco. A major construction project kicked off today, and it could cause delays through the sunset for months. It stretches all the way from 19th Avenue in Lincoln to 19th and Holloway. Today, Caltrans crews are getting started near Sloat and 19th. That's where we find our Kevin Coe.
It has begun, and it's going to be this way for about a year. Let me explain. Take a look right behind me. Caltrans crews have begun their work on repaving 19th Avenue, although the full repaving has not yet kicked off. Parking strips first before they move on to full lane closures, and when that does begin, it is going to be very congested here on State Route 1. That is because Caltrans expects to close about 4.5 lanes. Of course, you can't drive on half a lane, so just 1 lane on each side of 19th expected to be open when this work truly begins. You could expect the full closures to happen somewhat closer to spring, but right now, traffic is already being affected as this work is set to kick off. It's all set to be done by December 2026. This is a lot of work that Caltrans has to do. Yes, just about 3 miles of actual roadway in terms of driving, but we are told 19 miles of pavement that crews are going to be putting down and repaving. On top of that, bus routes will be affected at some point as well. Caltrans says the best thing that riders could do is just keep up to date with all the possible changes that are to come. Back to you.
Caltrans says full lane repaving from Holloway Avenue to Lincoln Way will begin in spring of 2026. Repaving of the southbound lanes from Sloat to Holloway is scheduled for June of next year. Still ahead on CBS News Bay Area, some TK students in San Francisco haven't had a permanent teacher for months. Our statewide initiative is making it hard to get this position staffed.
She's been rotating through a cast of about 10 or so substitute teachers at this point.
Plus, we will check out how a program that helps at-risk youth get their lives back on track. How it's helping kids work towards a college degree while in juvenile hall.
Well, we are off to a cool start here in the Bay Area with daytime highs only in the 50s all throughout our inland spots, stretched all the way along our coastal communities too, where beach hazard statements are still issued by the National Weather Service today with choppy waters and sneaker waves possible. Now, as we head into the next couple days, we'll see a little bit of a warm up, but we still flirt back and forth with 50s and 60s heading into this weekend's forecast. And that's not only our inland areas, but I'm going to pull up the bay behind me too. We're seeing similar conditions, 50s and 60s each day, partly cloudy skies, but hey, at least it's dry as we head into this week's forecast.
Police are asking for your help to track down a pair of Black Friday bandits in Gilroy. They believe these 2 people stole more than $6,000 in products from an Ulta beauty shop. Police say they were last seen driving off in a burnt orange Honda CR-V. Some parents with TK students are demanding changes at San Francisco Unified. They say their kids haven't had a permanent teacher for months now. Kenny Choi explains how statewide mandates and requirements for transitional kindergarten classes are now leaving some districts in a difficult situation.
Pickup time at school has become a stress test for parents. It's Paul Rivera's daughter's first year in the San Francisco Unified School District as a transitional kindergartner.
I have never been more frustrated as a parent.
Since the start of the school year, his daughter hasn't had a permanent teacher she knows by name.
She's been rotating through a cast of about 10 or so substitute teachers at this point.
Jennifer Bordner also has a child in TK at McCobbin Elementary in the Sunset District.
Sometimes he's like, we watched Bluey's class today.
They were just like running around the classroom and they were playing with the lights.
Parents say SFUSD hasn't been able to permanently staff all 18 of its TK classes. They're critical SFUSD is receiving more state funding because of TK enrollment, but not offering solutions to fill a glaring gap, leading to what they call chaotic classrooms.
Their pattern recognition is like, I can kind of do what I want. These teachers sort of know my name, sometimes they don't. The rules are different every day. They don't know what to expect, and they're setting foundations for how to learn. That's a problem.
Just feel like there was chaos in the classroom.
Staffing TK classes in the midst of a mandated statewide expansion has become a challenge for school districts because of a statewide shortage of credentialed TK teachers, according to SFUSD. Wanzi Maruvi is with the UC Berkeley Center for the Study of Child Care Employment. She says new credentialing requirements by the California Department of Education are problematic.
They need to create a pathway that allows the preschool teachers to get the credential without having to go through an onerous system when they already are qualified to teach the 4-year-olds.
Maruvi says the credentialing system is creating a bottleneck and preventing tens of thousands of qualified preschool educators from securing public school TK jobs. SFUSD has touted 97% of its classrooms having fully credentialed teachers.
What it feels like is that Spider-Man meme where they're all like pointing at each other and it's like, not my problem, not my problem. And at the end of the day, it's the kids and their families taking a hit on it.
I love public schools and I wanted to raise a public school child, but this has left me completely frustrated.
The lack of TK teachers is pushing some parents to consider opting out and walking away.
We did request an interview with SFUSD. A district spokesperson sent us this statement instead. They said they actively are recruiting, but it's challenging to fill the roles because of a statewide shortage of credentialed TK teachers. They say in the meantime, substitutes and long-term staff are ensuring all classrooms are covered. If you or your child takes an e-bike to school in Menlo Park, listen up. Today is the first day of the new rules for Menlo Park City School District schools. Students aged 15 and younger are banned from bringing e-bikes that can go 20 miles an hour or faster onto school campuses. Authorities say this is all about safety. They say they've seen an uptick in crashes and the use of illegal modifications that make e-bikes go faster. The move follows similar e-bike restrictions in other counties across the Bay Area, including Marin County. Now to a story about hope. UC Berkeley professors are teaching ethnic studies and other programs at the San Leandro Juvenile Justice Center. In fact, this could mean, for the first time in history, an incarcerated young adult will graduate with a UC Berkeley degree. Suji Nam takes us inside the Juvenile Justice Center with more on this initiative.
For Shawnee Shea, stepping inside a classroom is personal.
We are in the UC Berkeley cross-enrollment classroom.
As the founder of Incarceration to College, Shea helps oversee Cal professors teaching ethnic studies at the San Leandro Juvenile Justice Center.
What is foundational violence? What is the logic of racialization? I am formerly incarcerated. I am a 6-time felon, as some people will call me, and I experienced domestic violence throughout my life.
But Shea found her light when a mentor suggested college. And at the age of 28, she had gotten into UC Berkeley.
I started going back to school literally out of fear of poverty and fear of not having access to a meaningful employment.
And now, with a bachelor's degree from Cal and a master's from Harvard, Shay is helping incarcerated youth find their purpose in life.
We had a convening the other day. One youth said, the truth is that the only way out of my environment was literally to become a basketball player or a rapper. Education is their opportunity to re-engage in the world that has pushed them out time and time again.
Paris, who asked to remain anonymous, is taking courses with UC Berkeley and Laney College.
I'm currently on my way to getting a double AA in social studies and language arts English.
He's been in juvenile detention for nearly 3 years and has 1 more year left to serve.
It's been my motivation to leave here as a man instead of a child.
And Paris is looking forward to earning his diploma and a life outside of incarceration.
Something I can put on my wall and tell my kids I did it. A lot of my family never finished college. I was giving courage to my mom to go back to school and finish school, and she is currently enrolled in college as well.
And for Shay, students like Paris is what motivates her every day.
We know that our youth are more than sports. There's nothing wrong with that. We love that. But that's the hope that we want. We want our youth to feel powerful. We want them to know that they are powerful.
Empowering students on a similar path to her own to keep going.
The program currently is running in 3 counties: San Francisco, Contra Costa, and Alameda. Shay says they serve around 500 students across the region. The Super Bowl in Santa Clara is about 2 months away, and the NFL has just revealed the singer for the national anthem. Pop star Charlie Puth will take the stage at Super Bowl 60. His songs include See You Again and One Call Away. Puth will be taking the stage just before kickoff. Bad Bunny is the headliner for the halftime show at Super Bowl 60 at Levi Stadium. Meantime, the 49ers are riding a high heading into their bye week after yesterday's win against the Cleveland Browns. Final score, 26-8. Matt Lively has the highlights from a chilly Cleveland.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
Cleveland is home to the Dog Pound, and if that's the case, the 49ers put the Browns on a leash all game long here in Week 13 to improve to 9-4.
Rock said it right before we left to come out here, man. He feels like football starts after Thanksgiving, so we got to play our best ball in these last few games.
The morale is just different. You can see it. You know, we got guys on this team that know what last year felt like, and now we know what's at stake this year.
Looking from the outside in, if people would have said, hey, you guys are going to be 9-4 going into the bye, and you're not going to have Fred Warner or Nick Bosa, and Kittle's going to miss the first 5 weeks, and Brock's going to miss 6-7 games, I think a lot of people would have laughed at everybody.
The Niners lucked out with the weather. Yeah, it felt like 19 degrees here at kickoff, but they avoided rain or snow, and you could say that some 49ers players like the frigid temps more than others.
You know, I'm from Arizona, played in Florida, so, you know, it was pretty chilly for me, but, you know, as far as playing, like, I like actually playing in cold weather like this. It makes it feel like you can run forever.
Hey, most importantly, you stay warm today?
All day long, you know it.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
The Niners return home when they face off against the Tennessee Titans on December 14th at Levi's Stadium. Still ahead, how a new memorial is taking root in the East Bay to honor the lives lost during the AIDS crisis.
So we thought about the idea of creating some type of memorial garden to honor where we were and where we are and how did we get here.
We're sitting in the 40s right now. We're only warming up into the 50s throughout this afternoon, anywhere from San Jose all the way off into the East Bay and the North Bay as well. It's a very mild forecast for us outside today. Let's talk about some other things going on because it's partly cloudy right now throughout most of the Bay Area. Some dense fog still filling the Sacramento Valley, which bleeds into the Delta, so it impacts Solano County. Last week we were dealing with dense fog advisories, but watch what happens really fast as we head into this afternoon. That Tule fog in the valley bleeds off. We clear up and we'll just see mostly sunny skies throughout the afternoon hours today. So taking a look at the Bay forecast behind me, upper 50s and lower 60s, that's the trend for us all week long. With partly cloudy skies for the most part, we'll see sunnier conditions tomorrow. We'll catch a break and see some sunnier conditions kicking off this weekend by Friday, but those temperatures stay pretty mild all throughout the Bay. We head over into our inland spots, not a lot of changes over there either. We're all hand in hand this time of year with these daytime highs, partly cloudy skies, and at least no drops of rain in sight anytime soon. Back to you.
Today is World AIDS Day. It is a day to remember loved ones lost to the disease and to honor those living with HIV, still pushing back against stigma more than 40 years later. The Bay Area remains deeply connected. The AIDS Memorial quilt came to life here. The annual ceremony will be held today at the National AIDS Memorial in Golden Gate Park. And across the bay in Oakland at Lake Merritt, the town will be getting its first AIDS Memorial Garden. Our executive producer of Impacting Communities, Tylen Jennings, shows us the significance of this moment.
At Lake Merritt, something new is taking root. Oakland's first AIDS Memorial Garden. For longtime HIV activist Jesse Brooks, it's a moment he never thought he'd live to see.
I'm HIV positive myself, and I was diagnosed in '93, where people died.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while to kind of get my feet, but then I got involved. I got involved in research, advocacy, and we're finally here with all the tools and the education that we need to get to zero.
From the front lines of activism to this moment, Jesse says the garden will honor every branch of the community.
And so we thought about the idea of creating some type of place, memorial garden, to honor where we were and where we are and how did we get here, with all the people that died, people that are thriving, researchers, everybody was part of this.
That includes Dr. Don K. Smith, a CD researcher who helped prove PrEP could prevent HIV and fought to ensure communities of color had access to it. Her daughter, filmmaker C.B. Smith Dahl, never imagined her mother's legacy would take root here.
Somebody at the meeting, I guess, mentioned my mother, who had recently passed. This was in 2022. And Tora said, oh my gosh, I know this story. I know about this woman because that's CB's mother. So it was this really amazing spiritual moment. Connection, yeah, and where ancestors were bringing us together in order to work on this project.
The garden will sit beside a small bridge, soon to be rebuilt and dedicated in Dr. Smith's name. It will be maintained entirely by volunteers with color-themed plantings shaped like the AIDS Red Ribbon and ecotherapy programs for residents impacted by HIV. For Jesse, this garden is more than a memorial. It's a place where truth can finally bloom and where shame has no shade to hide in.
This will be a space where people have the permission to honor their relatives, to talk about it openly.
And as the project moves forward, Jesse says the garden stands as proof that survival matters, stories matter, and that the path to zero transmission begins with visibility.
The AIDS Memorial Garden is set to break ground next year. Coming up in our next half hour on CBS News Bay Area, the Trump administration ramps up rhetoric against migrants. We hear from the Bay Area's Afghan community following the latest asylum pause. And let's take you live outside before we head to break. A beautiful shot of the Transamerica Pyramid and a little bit further off into the East Bay on this Monday morning. We'll have your top stories and a check of your first alert forecast when we return.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device. You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Max Darrow. Here's another look at our news headlines. There's a $25,000 reward to help track down the shooter or shooters who opened fire at a children's birthday party in Stockton. 4 people were killed Saturday night. That included 3 children. The Sheriff's Department says the victims were 8, 9, 14, and 21 years old. 11 other people were hurt as well. Investigators believe this was a targeted attack. The shooter who opened fire at Valley Fair Mall in San Jose on Black Friday remains at large this morning. The gunfire sent shoppers running for cover. Police say a fight broke out near a Macy's, and one man pulled out a gun and started shooting. 3 people were hit. They're all expected to survive. Police say the shooting does appear to be gang-related. A heads up for EV drivers. It is the end of the road for your carpool lane privileges. Today, the CHP is starting to ticket and fine drivers flying solo in the carpool lane, no matter what kind of car they have. These tickets can set you back nearly $500. Now let's get another check of our first alert forecast. Meteorologist Jessica Birch is tracking dangerous conditions along the California coastline.
Well, it's off to a cool start for us here in the Bay Area with daytime highs this afternoon, really only sitting in the 50s all throughout the Bay Area from our coastal communities, with that beach hazard statement still in effect issued by the National Weather Service, meaning sneaker waves and rip currents are possible, with waves anywhere up to around 10 to 14 feet high in places like Half Moon Bay and Pacifica sitting in the 50s today. We're seeing 50s and 60s throughout the Santa Clara Valley, 50s widespread throughout our inland communities, anywhere from Vallejo stretched all the way down into the Tri-Valley area, and you head up into the Bay and the North Bay too. No changes whatsoever. So it's off to a chilly start today, but we will see a bit of a warm up into the next couple days. Now that Tule fog over into the Sacramento Valley has been bleeding its way over into Solano County and just throughout the Delta. So you've been noticing some poor visibility in those early morning hours. But as we advance the clock into this afternoon, that bleeds off fast, and then we're left with drier and more mild conditions throughout this afternoon, with just some partly cloudy skies in the forecast. Now, as we take a look at the next 7 days, there's some changes that we want to talk about. We're going to warm up just a smidge more, not by much, but by about 10 degrees as we head into our forecast tomorrow. And then that's what we're holding on tight to throughout most of the week. 50s and 60s flirting back and forth with each other throughout our inland areas. Sunny skies as we dive into this weekend. Not a drop of rain in sight anytime soon, which is really a nice relief for us, a nice break as we head into the next couple days, especially after the holiday weekend. Now, as we head into the next couple days, you're still going to want to bundle up in the morning hours. We wake up to 40s all throughout the Bay. We only warm up into the 50s today. We'll see some 60s tomorrow, and then we gradually see a back and forth setup heading into this weekend too, similar to our inland spots for this time of year. Back to you.
Investigators say the suspect in last week's shooting of 2 National Guard troops may have been radicalized after moving to the United States.
We believe he was radicalized since he's been here in this country. We do believe it was through connections in his home community and state, and we're going to continue to talk to those who interacted with him, who were his family members, talk to them.
The 29-year-old suspect arrived in the U.S. from Afghanistan in September of 2021. He was granted asylum under the Trump administration in April of this year. In the wake of the shooting, President Trump said he would be pausing all asylum claims from developing countries. Many people in the Bay Area's Afghan community say they disagree with the latest policy from the Trump White House. Da Lin spoke with Afghan Americans about this decision.
The Fremont area is home to one of the largest Afghan American communities in the country. In fact, you'll find a lot of Afghan restaurants and markets in Little Kabul on Fremont Boulevard. Many Afghans tell me they're disappointed with the new Trump immigration policy. Many Afghan Americans stop by the popular Maywan market on Sunday to buy the traditional Afghan bread called naan. While almost everyone offered to share their bread with me, very few wanted to speak on camera. Off camera, they told me they're upset about the indefinite pause on immigration from Afghanistan.
I feel really bad and disappointed about this.
Ahmad Tawhid Sotani was one of the few willing to speak his mind. Sotani moved to the Bay Area with his family about 5 years ago from Afghanistan. He says the shooting in Washington was the act of one person, not a reflection of the entire community.
Just because one Afghan did something bad doesn't mean all the Afghans should be punished because of that. Just because one Afghan is bad doesn't mean all of the Afghans are bad. There's other people that are good. What that guy did was wrong. But that doesn't mean we should be punished for it because we didn't do anything.
But the U.S. has paused all asylum decisions and stopped issuing visas to people from Afghanistan. President Trump says his administration will also review the status of Afghan asylum seekers already in the U.S.
To send them back, to deport them, would be, a death sentence since they, supported our armed service members against the Taliban. And so there is a lot of fear in the community.
Harris Mojadidi, an Afghan community activist in the East Bay, says there's growing fear among Afghan Americans.
What the Afghan American community is experiencing is collective punishment, and it is discriminatory, it is xenophobic, racist.
Sotani says even though his brothers and relatives are still in Afghanistan, he doesn't dare to visit them or leave the country.
I don't feel comfortable right now given the policy, because I might get stuck in there.
I did find one Afghan American who supports the immigration pause. He did not want to go on camera, saying he would lose a lot of friends, but he tells me he came to this country in 1981 as a refugee. He says he also voted for Trump last year and supports the president's latest decision. He believes it will make the country safer by keeping the asylum seekers out.
President Trump also said he may seek to revoke citizenship for some naturalized citizens who he believes were improperly vetted. But it is unclear if he has the authority to do so. Today, once again, San Francisco is getting a new supervisor. Mayor Daniel Lurie picked Alan Wong to represent the Sunset District. This follows the abrupt resignation of Bea Alcaraz. Mayor Lurie appointed Alcaraz following the recall of former Supervisor Joel Engardio. But then, about a week after she was sworn in, news reports raised questions about her business practices during her time as a pet store owner. Alcaraz eventually stepped down after just about a week on the job. So now Wong has been the man appointed to fill that position. The City College trustee and Sunset native graduated from Lincoln High, and he's twice served as the president of the City College Board. He's also a first lieutenant in the California National Guard and a former aide to Supervisor Gordon Marr. Amanda Harry talked to people who live in the community about the appointment and what they hope to see from their new supervisor.
While the backdrop may be picturesque, the emotions in the Sunset District have been complex.
Well, there's been a lot of uncertainty in our neighborhood.
One topic of contention, this park, Sunset Dunes. And it led to ousting the supervisor. Now Mayor Daniel Lurie has appointed 38-year-old Alan Wong. Heidi Moseson is hoping it will turn the tides.
I'm optimistic based on what he said. It sounds like he has a history of being a consensus builder, and I think our neighborhood, we really need some consensus building out here.
Moseson loves the park. She brings her kids here almost every day, but others want their highway back. In September, the district voted to recall Supervisor Joel Engardio after he sponsored Proposition K. It permanently closed the 2-mile stretch of the Great Highway to cars, turning it into Sunset Dunes. Lisa Argis, who helped lead the Recall Engardio campaign, still has a lot of questions about Wong.
This is someone who is supposed to represent the district and some of the top-of-mind major issues for the district. Alan Wong has been unwilling or unable to take a position on, namely the Great Highway or the mayor's upzoning plan.
She wants him to take a stand.
I can tell you one thing, saying no comment is not going to be an acceptable answer on the two major issues for the district.
But president of Stop Crime SF, Frank Noto, thinks Wong will be a good fit, and he knows him well.
I was very enthusiastic. I've known Alan since he was 16 or 17. He joined the Democratic club that I headed back in the day.
Noto describes him as a good listener and a son of the Sunset. He went to Lincoln High School.
He's been here all his life. He grew up with hardworking immigrant parents, and so he understands the travails that people go through. And he understands government because he was a legislative assistant for 3 or 4 years here.
He was an education policy advisor to the supervisor before Engardio, Gordon Marr. He currently works at the Children's Council of San Francisco.
I suspect his priorities will be public safety, and education, and families with children, and the local merchants.
Moseson says she hopes Noto is right, and Wong focuses on all of those issues and more.
I'm looking forward to someone who can really prioritize the concerns of this neighborhood, which are, there's a lot of really pressing things the Sunset wants to see moving forward. And I think going backward on this park is not one of them. This park is an inevitability. This coast is changing.
Wong will serve as supervisor until June of 2026. Then voters will choose who will finish the rest of the current term. Up next, a 24/7 live stream gives us a closer look at some of nature's most feared reptiles, how Project Rattlecam could help change our prejudices against the declining population.
Start your day with us and open your world.
Time to open up those windows and get this day started.
The power of CBS News.
It is a historic day in news.
Taking you around the globe, across the country.
With Federal, live, and
into your community.
To the South Bay, major changes.
And Bay Area weather from a whole new perspective.
Let's head underneath this cloud layer.
CBS News Bay Area's Morning Edition. Weekdays at 6 on KPIX.
Well, we are off to a cool start here in the Bay Area with daytime highs only in the 50s all throughout our inland spots, stretched all the way along our coastal communities too, where beach hazard statements are still issued by the National Weather Service today with choppy waters and sneaker waves possible. Now, as we head into the next couple days, we'll see a little bit of a warm up, but we still flirt back and forth with 50s and 60s heading into this weekend's forecast. And that's not only our inland areas, but I'm going to pull up the bay behind me too. We're seeing similar conditions, 50s and 60s each day, partly cloudy skies, but hey, at least it's dry as we head into this week's forecast.
A unique project out of Cal Poly is putting the spotlight on rattlesnakes. Their live-streamed RattleCam network surveils them 24/7. And as Brian Hackney reports, love them or hate them, it could be the key to stopping their declining population.
Everybody has an opinion about snakes.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them! Come on, show a little backbone, will ya?
Everyone either loves them or hates them. No one's ambivalent.
Love the rattlesnakes, love the garter snakes, love the gopher snakes and the camera traps, love the stories, love it all.
Hey.
Students in this unusual lab,
The Physiological Ecology of Reptiles Laboratory,
might be in the minority.
They're just awesome. There's just something about them.
I've kind of just really fell in love with like how snakes move, their moods, like, you know, you can learn a lot from snakes.
Hi, handsome.
Their professor is hoping many more people will.
This is a nice, big, speckled rattlesnake. They get bigger than this, though.
My name's Emily, and I'm a biology professor at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, where this June is my 20-year anniversary. Do not know how that happened.
Dr. Emily Taylor is also co-founder of Project RattleCam, a 24/7 live stream of a rattlesnake den in the remote mountains of Colorado. All of them are monitored in a lab 1,000 miles away in California.
This is the Cal Poly Snake Cam Nerve Center, or Nerd Center. This is where all the Cal Poly students run the live streaming camera 12 hours a day, all year long.
Inside the lab, Ava, Grace, Ethan, and Max are all working on one goal.
To be able to, for the very first time, watch what they're doing when people aren't there to disturb them.
Well, definitely getting to capture a live birth of the wild rattlesnakes on film was spectacular.
Emily got the idea while watching UC Berkeley's Falcon Cam.
And I thought, wait a minute, why do all the birds have all the fun? We need to have one on snakes.
Those are all snakes?
We're trying to tell you how special this thing is. It's really incredible. Yeah, there you go. See how he's wrapping right there on her?
They've been cheering everything from the live-streamed birth of baby rattlers.
And everyone was like, oh, yeah.
To receiving visitors at the den.
Whoa! Bobcat.
There we go.
What are we looking at?
There's a female shedding her skin. When female rattlesnakes shed their skin, they smell really sexy to males. He wants to mate, but he's not going to get to.
So they're just like humans.
Worse. Project RattleCam is really for the benefit of people who have never seen them in nature, who have never seen how they actually are.
From rabbits having a very narrow escape, we really have to look at that in slow motion again. Wow. To all sorts of other wildlife at the den, the RattleCam live stream has gotten more than 2.5 million views.
They're such complicated, magnificent animals. And so what I really wish people understood was that these are fascinating animals that do far more good for us than they do harm. And that's what I'm trying to change their reputation.
The snakes are hibernating right now, so the RattleCam is paused, but it will go back online in July. Every holiday season, CBS News Bay Area teams up with local food banks to help ensure that nobody goes hungry. Food insecurity is growing and more families are struggling to make ends meet. And that's where food banks like the Redwood Empire come in to close the gap. But they can't do it alone. They rely heavily on help from people like you and from grants from organizations like the Gilead Foundation.
Our goal is to address those wraparound needs as the Gilead Foundation. And we know that food plays a critical role in health. And so our focus on this program is really about partnering with these food banks to meet the needs of the community members where we have Gilead employees living and working.
This partnership helps Redwood Empire Food Bank respond to increasing demand, particularly among families who rely on school and community-based food programs. And you can find ways to give back in your community by scanning the QR code on your screen or by heading to kpix.com/give. Also, be sure to join us for our holiday special that airs on Christmas night at 7 o'clock on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. You'll be able to see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families all across the Bay Area. Coming up, we will take you behind the scenes for the newest Cirque du Soleil show here in the Bay Area. Hear from one of these high-flying performers about how he manages his fears on these risky stunts.
It's really it's risky, so sometimes it's scary to do stuff.
We're sitting in the 40s right now. We're only warming up into the 50s throughout this afternoon, anywhere from San Jose all the way off into the East Bay and the North Bay as well. It's a very mild forecast for us outside today. Let's talk about some other things going on because it's partly cloudy right now throughout most of the Bay Area. Some dense fog still filling the Sacramento Valley, which bleeds into the Delta, so that impacts Solano County. Last week we were dealing with dense fog advisories, but watch what happens really fast as we head into this afternoon. That Tule fog in the valley bleeds off. We clear up and we'll just see mostly sunny skies throughout the afternoon hours today. So taking a look at the Bay forecast behind me, upper 50s and lower 60s, that's the trend for us all week long. With partly cloudy skies for the most part, we'll see sunnier conditions tomorrow. We'll catch a break and see some sunnier conditions kicking off this weekend by Friday, but those temperatures stay pretty mild all throughout the Bay. We head over into our inland spots, not a lot of changes over there either. We're all hand in hand this time of year with these daytime highs, partly cloudy skies, and at least no drops of rain in sight anytime soon. Back to you.
Well, if you are planning to pick up a Christmas tree sometime soon, one of the oldest tree lots in the city is officially open for business. The Guardsman lot in San Francisco has been selling trees since 1947. The proceeds go to summer camps and after-school programs for at-risk youth in the Bay Area.
I love the Guardsmen. I love all the wonderful things they do for the community, and they have the best trees. Not to mention a bounce house.
The last day of this tree lot will be December 18th. Cirque du Soleil's newest production is open at Oracle Park in San Francisco. It is called Echo, and this version features the familiar acrobatics as well as a giant cube. Lorene Ayub gives us an inside look at what it takes to put this show on.
San Francisco is getting a burst of energy this season as Cirque du Soleil brings its newest big top production to town. Entitled Echo, performers like teeterboard artist Jerome Hugo says the thrill begins long before the audience arrives.
We have a lot of practice to arrive there, but yes, sometimes it's really it's risky, so sometimes it's scary to do stuff.
But that rush is a part of the craft and is exactly what keeps Jerome on his feet or in the air. Diagnosed with ADHD as a child in his native Switzerland, he says the circus was the perfect career path for him.
When I was a kid, I was really hyperactive, and I really run everywhere and need to move. And a circus school just opened close to my house in Switzerland. And I went there and I just really, really loved it, and it's really helped me to focus and to stay focused on something. Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil's return is more than a spectacle. It's a continued economic boost for San Francisco. Night after night, Echo pulls thousands into the 2,500-seat Big Top near Oracle Park, funneling new energy and business into the Mission Bay area.
Cirque du Soleil Echo is the newest show of Cirque du Soleil. It's the newest big top production, so it's very modern. We really wanted to go to a simplistic way of telling a story. There's a lot less props. It's very streamlined, very modern, very contemporary, and the focus is all on the artists themselves.
And for the artists, like Jerome, that spotlight, combined with the reaction of packed Bay Area crowds, makes every risky moment worth it.
The adrenaline and the audience, when you land the tricks and you have a good reaction from the audience, it's really good for the feeling, yeah.
Cirque du Soleil's magic is on stage in San Francisco now, running through January 18th.
As you just heard, Echo runs at Oracle Park through the 18th of January. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Max Darrow. We'll be right back with your first alert forecast and a look at your top stories.